Hello, this is Fr LouScurti with Fr Mark Olenowski. Mark, thank you for having us. We're here for another episode interview with Fr Mark here at St. Pius Church in Montville, New Jersey. It's a very beautiful parish in northern New Jersey, and you must love it here.
Oh, I do. The people are godly, gracious, and generous.
Excellent.
They're
You rhyme godly, gracious. That's alliteration, right? That's great.
We've had no problems paying our bills, and if you identify a need, we're one of the top givers to the food bank for the diocese.
Excellent, excellent.
And the people have always rallied and are ready, willing, and able to help with whatever Christian cause comes our way, especially with missionaries. We always get a super-duper collection to help them out.
Excellent. That's so important. Maybe I'll come here and speak about our Friends of the Word and ask for a collection that day. Whoa, you opened up your shoe there.
No, the Sisters of the Poor has that.
Okay. I'm not going to do that. Maybe. Okay. I'm interested in aspects of ministry, parish ministry, of course, from your perspective. But we've covered a lot in former interviews. I want to know where it all started. Where did you grow up? Where were you born? Give me that stuff.
I'm from Denville. I'm a Morris County homegrown.
Yeah.
I come from a family of 8 children. And
God bless you.
And I went to St. Mary's in Denville Grammar School, and there I had a nice education, and after going through all that, I met an Irish priest by the name of Father Dave McDonald, and I became friends with him as I was teaching religious ed. I was teaching 7th graders. And I really enjoyed it. At the time, I was playing the guitar in the folk group. Not very good, and I can't sing too well. But I like the warmth of learning about God and just the people who love the Lord. I wanted to gravitate to, and
nice.
But Father Dave McDonald especially. He had something that I wanted, and whether it was intuitively, through instincts, whatever, that his strength of character came from his love of the Lord. And he was a disciplined, prayerful, great sense of humor. And as I said, I enjoyed his company very much. And after 5 years of religious ed and the folk group, I had the calling that I would like to go take the next step, and right at the edge I was teetering a little bit, and then the Lord invited me to come and serve, and it was.
People won't know what that means. Explain that piece.
Well,
how did the Lord invite you?
Well, you see, as a young man. Trying to be modest, with a lot of skills and opportunities, you're at the crossroads of your life.
Right.
For example, I was keenly aware that I could be a nice father, a husband, a faithful, have faithful relationships, but
not a musician.
Not, maybe the harmonica.
Yeah, okay.
But I knew that was an opportunity, and that was desirous as well. So I chose to pursue the priesthood because I felt in my heart like a blind man with flying a kite. He felt the tug, and I felt the Lord's.
Hey, it's beautiful.
I felt the Lord's tug on my heartstrings that I could serve the Lord, and if I did so and had the opportunity, that I would be sincere, authentic, and try my best, because it was something internal. It wasn't my aunt's idea or a friend of mine or my mom's. It was the Lord giving me this opportunity, and I found it a difficult path with all the studying, with the formation, and just the the discipline that goes into being a priest, that it requires a huge commitment in your heart, mind, and spirit. Total personality needs to be involved in that. So that's how I got started, and I remember my first Mass like 30 years ago. I really was a fish out of water, because like, you come through the seminary talking this highfalutin language about the ontological reality of God's manifestation, and yet I learned every time I try to preach as if my mom is sitting there in the first pew. Good. So that if it doesn't float with her, then why am I trying to be a fancy pants with describing God? Jesus didn't do that. Right. So like I use my mama always. I want to make sure that she understands what I'm trying to convey through interpreting the Word.
Good, beautiful example.
But a couple other things that after 30 years experience, you become savvy when it comes to the sacraments. I find funerals a teachable moment, where sometimes the unchurched, or sometimes, it's just we don't talk about death in our culture. We seem to be afraid of it. But it's an opportunity to talk about the other side of faith, the promises of Christ, where there are many mansions in my Father's house, and to be a good and faith-filled servant has its rewards. And eye has not seen and ear has not heard what is in store for those who love me. So, so that's nice. And then as you go along, you learn a little bit with the weddings too. The uniting of two families, and how much of a privilege it is to talk about love. How love is the creator of our favorite memories. Love is the foundation of our fondest dreams. And love is a fortune that can never be spent. So these little tidbits about, with marriage, the secret to marriage is to challenge your beloved without hassling them. And then a few things about a Danish proverb, that if you treat one another regally, you will in turn be treated that way. And so as you go along, you learn a little bit of nooks and crannies, rivers, images, and ways to crystallize love for the other, to accept their feebleness and their warts and their scars, to affirm them, and to always give affection, and affirm them in many ways.
You're so poetic with all your imageries.
Well, I just think it's very important that at these key moments in life, that we try to show the beauty of God, and having a real relationship with God, and not to be a half-baked, lukewarm Christian. Everybody has the right to choose whatever reality they consider top priority or valuable to them. But the Lord has never let anyone down, and those who seek the Lord will always be rewarded. One of my favorite credos comes from St. Teresa Avila, and it goes like this. She said, "Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. Patience obtains all things. There is nothing lacking to those who possess God. God alone will suffice." And I believe that as sort of my compass in the wilderness of life. And as people journey through life in different stages, we all need to know the direction we are traveling. We need to know where we are going in life, So you could go with God, let go, and let God be in your life. Or, choose, in my opinion, a lesser option, or a lower connection.
Okay, beautiful. I want to go back to something you said before. It was interesting. You talked about marriage and so on. I never have this on the show. I've never discussed this or asked anybody to talk about it. Give our audience an overview from a parish perspective of what the preparation is for marriage, a Catholic marriage and the sacrament. What should a couple do? Typically, in our diocese, and probably applicable to all the New Jersey dioceses, what are the steps?
Well, first of all, I don't want to offend the brides that want to get married by the ocean. You know, but to begin with, we try not to cheapen sacraments. We try to or lessen the grace that are in sacraments. So that's why it's important that we have the marriage inside a church. It's a sacrament. And with that sacrament comes the preparation to go through the basics, that know the sacramentology behind a marriage. It's not just a contract, but it's with the eyes of God, it's a blessed moment in your life. The other things is to, know about finances, know like who's going to be the one controlling the ledger, who's going to be the social person, who's going to make all the decisions about the social activities. Another thing that comes in when it comes to children, and different the teachings of the church and different ways in which the wisdom of the church can help the couple.
And where does that come? What's the organization from which that comes?
Well,
what do we call that?
Right now, we're over at all couples are required to go over to St. Paul inside the wall and have some classes there that they get into the details of what it means to have God in their lives, to see the importance and the beauty of marriage, and not just something. And I don't want to demean anybody, but sometimes I've seen people, they approach marriage like they're doing a 5-year lease for a car, and if it doesn't work at the end of 5 years, well, I'll trade it in.
Is any of that pre-Cana that they?
Yes, but it's been shifted over to St. Paul's
in our area.
Yes, to make it. The classes are more in depth, and it escalates the importance and the meaning of marriage for the couple.
Is that a one-day event?
Actually, there's 2 classes that they need to attend to, and most of them have a very positive awareness of the whole process. Maybe not at first, because they're all busy and they cherish their weekends, as we all do, but to grow closer to God and one another, it's worth the price.
That's great. That's great. So it's important for the church to give a cognitive as well as spiritual dimension to the preparation of marriage. You're saying, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And all those characteristics, all those aspects that you covered before: family, finances, children.
Right.
That's really important.
I also think, this is just my own thinking on the matter, but I also think it's a difficulty if you're married to someone, you're bonded with your soulmate, and that you love the Lord with a passion and with your heart, mind, and spirit, and they don't. That it creates a psychic strangeness that here the God that gives you wisdom and nourishment and inspiration and hope, and the guy's sitting on the couch eating cheese, then getting his fingers with orange, his orange eating Doritos, the man of your dream. Instead of growing together in faith, that there is a psychic strangeness that has to separate the couple because of basically a lack of respect. And I know we're all individuals. We grow at different degrees and intensities and all, but it's hard to love somebody completely when they don't love the thing you honor the most.
So that education and that practice of the faith is so important early on in our lives as they meet the equivalent of their spouses, their soulmates, as you said.
And they can articulate expectations a lot better, and and the other thing is, who would not want a spouse that is prolific in our faith. Wouldn't you want somebody who's loyal? Wouldn't you want somebody who is patient? Wouldn't you want someone who is kind and generous? And that's what Jesus portrays by his livelihood, by his mere presence to help those who are vulnerable, and just the whole package of being a good Christian is what I would pursue and look for in a spouse. Because without being too preachy, Christ is the way through our troubles and pain. Christ is the way to justice and true forgiveness. And Christ is the way to God and each other. So if you hurt one another as couples, which we always do because you're bumblers or we're awkward with relationships, always seek each other's forgiveness and God's as well.
You are wonderful. Thank you. You've preached, you've given examples, you've put yourself out there. I really appreciate, Mark, these interviews have been enlightening and inspirational, and as our cameraman said, dynamic. He's dynamic.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Thank you. You got a lot of growing to do. This has been Father Lou and the comedy team of Mark and Lou, thanking you for joining us. And if you want any information, you can contact me, FrLouScurti, at hotmail.com. I'll pass it on to Father Mark. And I'll also put Father Mark's, the Parish St. Pius email on our site.
It's on our website.
Thank you very much for joining us. Keep the word alive and well. God bless you.